My name's Wayne McPhee. I'd like to introduce you to the activinvest Six Step Property Investment Workbook. The purpose of this workbook is so that you can, in a systematic way, work a plan and a strategy out that suits your particular needs. As part of this workbook, we give you a bit of information about activinvest, and then we move on to the overall macro area of property investment in Australia. It might surprise you some of the statistics that are shown in this report. The next area that we move on to is how the Australian housing cycle has developed over the last 126 years. Is it predictable? And answers a number of questions about property cycles that you've probably heard, and you may be surprised when you start reading some of this information as to how the property cycles have developed and how long they last for. The next thing that we discuss is the actual property cycle itself, and some of the questions we quite often get is, how do you determine where a cycle is at? So we actually give you some of the indicators in this workbook so that you can determine for yourself where the property cycle is at in your particular area, or in the area indeed that you're looking at. Then we move on to a discussion about negative and positive gearing and how each of those have their place in your investment portfolio. And indeed we also talk about cash neutral properties, which are very common in the property investment world. We finally then get on to the actual workbook stage of this, and what we have here are a number of questions that you should ask yourself and answer honestly, and write your answers down, because those answers will help indicate to you, when you get on to developing the written plan, the areas that are important to you. So please be honest with yourself. Nobody else is going to see this, so have a look at the questions and write your answers down, and you'll find them very helpful when you go on to the next stage, which is actually developing your own property investment plan. Now the property investment plan is devised to answer questions and be used as a later roadmap for you as you go along your journey. It's not written in stone, and it should be revised on a regular basis as your life and the economics of the area and the economics of our country evolve. So start off at this point, but don't think that this is the end. The other thing that we do recommend is that property is just part of your life, and we actually show you that you should also develop your various strategies for your health and fitness and your relationships and a number of these other areas. So you can use this workbook also to help develop strategies for your total life cycle. Then what we do is we actually move on to the actual 6-step process. And in this process, it's very systematic. You one step after the other. It's just like climbing a ladder or a set of stairs. If you follow this process, you'll get to the end systematically, and basically what you'll learn in this workbook is when you get to the 6th step, you go back to step 1 and repeat the process. But you'll find this very helpful, very simple to read, and very informative. Then what we also go into here is some information about the eventuality of retirement, and retirement means a lot of different things to different people. And we give you some information here about how the reality of retirement differs from our intentions, and there's some interesting research in there, and that should be considered as part of your investment plan, and so that you can move forward knowing what the end is in mind, and really knowing that the reality is going to be different from your intentions, and you've got to be able to plan that in. We also give you some information on statistics about average ages, life expectancies after retirement and so on, because it's important that you know how long you've got to plan this for. If you retire at age 55, for instance, a male is expected to live another 26 years. So is your retirement plan and your property investment plan going to last for at least that period of 26 years after you retire. So it's about planning for your total retirement. We have some information on that, and whilst this information is not intended as financial planning information, it's information that you should be aware of when you're looking at your investment plan for your property. The other thing that we do is we actually highlight this area in our book, that when we're working, we pretty well divide our time up between sleep, work and play. And of course, when we get to retirement, we have all the time in the world to sleep and to play, but we've run out of the capacity to earn income. And this property investment workbook is about how you can generate income so that you can enjoy your sleep and play time when you do eventually get to retirement, whatever that means for you. And finally, we have this client information sheet. Now, this client information sheet is so that you can gather all of the information that your finance broker would require to ascertain your finance position and your borrowing capacity. Once you've completed that, you should forward that on to your finance broker. So this very simple 6-step process workbook will help you develop your property investment plan and get you on the road to your property investment retirement.